let people catch up, get the notification, that whole thing. Today is day 5 of the Galactic Portal. We are speaking to releasing the shadow of lack. Came out of some journaling that I did, and it was about confronting where, hello, hi Mel, where we have, where, distracted myself, where we have mistaken desperation for devotion. Anybody ever done that? Did you even know you did that? Is probably a better question. Desperation for devotion. Hello, Felicia. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The shadow of lack. Something that, so here's, my name is Marti Forrest. Let me start there. My name is Marti Forrest. I have been doing this 10-day portal activation in collaboration with Felicia at Felicia Be Soul Light 379 on YouTube, and Donna, who is Amethyst Rain on Instagram. Amethyst Rain 23. She does sound healing. Felicia does the whole portal opening activation for each day, and then I come in and talk about shadow work, which is what we're all in the midst of, including, hi Alita, including the collective. And that's a lot of what we're feeling, and it brings up our own stuff and invites us. It's an invitation to look deeper. That's why we're here, to dive deep. We've all been doing this work for a while, and hold on a second, let me move stuff out of the way. I need my water a little handier. We've all been asked to dive deeper because we've done, the majority of us, we'll say many of us have done the heavy lifting in terms of clearing the things that were so obvious and so traumatic. We've done a lot of that kind of work. So now what happens as we continue on the journey is the mind gets trickier, craftier, more insidious, sneaky. And then it starts to bring up those deeper layers, and we're wondering, what happened? Why am I dealing with this again? Because it's a deeper layer. On the deeper layers, while it might feel intense, lots of releasing in dreams, old stuff. Yes, it has been happening for you for sure. And that comes through in dreams, comes through in a thought, some random thought of somebody you haven't thought about in 25 years, maybe since an incident happened with them, and suddenly that thing is floating through your mind. It's like, Miss Party Mayhem, hi. Glad to have you. So we're wondering why it's coming up now. Why is this random old thought of somebody that I haven't seen in a long time showing up? Because it's old. It's just old. It's old residual stuff being pushed to the surface. Something that showed up, that has been showing up for me, which I didn't realize was coming from a space, energy of, very unconscious, desperation. Desperate for money, desperate for love, desperate for whatever. Mine was money. So no matter what I was doing, that frequency comes through. And then I'm doing it because I'm supposed to, or I have to, or I think I need to. So I say that, how many ways do you do that? And we think it's devotion and commitment. I know somebody who wants to have a partner. And rather than allowing that to manifest, because she's holding the vision and the feeling, she keeps looking for it. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up to see if it's growing. I love the analogy of that. I love the gardening stuff. So if you plant a seed, you're going to trust that the tomato plant's going to grow, or an oak tree's going to grow. You're not going to go dig it up to see if it's sprouted. Right? So when things are showing up for us, Sometimes we don't know it until we know it. So when we're wanting something, feel into, am I doing this out of place of desperation and lack? Mr. Classic, hi. Are you operating from desperation and lack because you think you have to do something, or you're supposed to do it, or you're supposed to perform, or you're supposed to produce? How many of us do that? In our business, in our life, in our relationship? We get into these behaviors. We get into the behaviors that we think we're supposed to be doing to be happy, or to be in love, or to be whatever we think we need. It's very insidious. Layers. I'm hitting the same wound. Yes, I understand the who, what, when, where, why it happens, but how can I release it anymore? Anxious attachment style, push, pull, desperation. The best way to do that is to pay attention to you and love you. It sounds so simple. It takes practice. It takes practice. Let me look at my screen over here. Did it show up as live? So I can see the questions on my computer. Yes, it's an ongoing practice to clear and release. And what's happening is, while it looks and feels the same, pay attention to your timeline. The timeline is usually shorter as we realize it and we shift out. There was times that it would take days or weeks, or you weren't even aware that you're doing it. And then now you have the awareness. So every time you notice it, the timeline for how long you're in it is shorter. And then you'll notice where it's just kind of subtle showing up. It's like, oh, and then you notice the thought and you're like, oh, okay, I've been dealing with that, or I'm already done with that. And you move back to who you are. Scarcity mindset, yes. Because we're afraid of losing, because we've always been in scarcity. Because that's our culture. Not only is that our culture, it was our family. The culture and the family beliefs, I'll say most, when we were raised, work hard, produce more, you have to work harder than everybody else, you always try more, everything was about effort and action. And the more action you did, the more the payoff's supposed to be. When really the frequency that the universe reads is our feeling and our state of being. The actions can be very frantic and very chaotic and very confusing to the universe. So we're forcing it by constantly trying to do it. Self-care and committing to making grounding work a non-negotiable every day, daily, hourly even. Yes, 100%. 100%. It is not negotiable. I had a client yesterday and we were talking about the not negotiable. The husband works, comes home, the kids are there, and he's been gone for days, firefighter, and it's an adjustment, and what they've been doing hasn't been working. I said, this is not negotiable. The time for him to integrate is a non-negotiable. And my second husband was that way. He had to have the time to come home and integrate and not be bombarded with whatever was going on in my day. I didn't have kids. I had 5 dogs at that time. Couldn't have the dogs around him. Just had to let him reintegrate. Even that was just a daily thing. So whatever your commitment is, it's not negotiable, because that's what's going to keep you in your best healthy state. Being grounded, choosing where you're putting your focus and your time. This lack mentality, this scarcity mentality that we have, so many of us, it's very, very unconscious, because that's what we've been taught. Everything had to be hard work. Everything had to be produced. And that's not true. There is action to take, when we take action from inspiration and divine guidance, that's different than I'm supposed to and I have to, and that's what I've been told I'm supposed to do. Because that's what comes through. What do you do if you find it hard to ground yourself? When I find it hard to ground myself, I get into breathing. I focus on, one of my friends says, turn your blinkers inward, bring your energy into you, and I count my breath, and I inhale through the nose, count of 8, and exhale through the mouth. It's just like a circular breath. So that brings my energy in, and when I do that breath, it helps me to ground. So try that. Put your feet on the ground, barefoot. And things are changing so rapidly, so it's been a bit challenging for a lot of us to find our place to ground and to stay grounded, because it's just moving so fast. So let it be okay if you can't ground yourself. Even if you're doing what I'm suggesting and you can't quite ground yourself, just know that you will be. And sometimes it's just so much energy moving through us that it is hard. It does feel difficult. And you just keep breathing and bringing your energy back in. That's been the most effective thing for myself. And that's for anyone. You know, I'm an empath, but this works for anyone that works with energy. Highly sensitive. You're welcome. Very welcome. So if this is ongoing, this whole lack, scarcity, just look at your TV commercials, look at your programs that are on, look at the words that are used. If you watch the news, stop watching the news. But if you ever watch the news just to listen for it, listen to how they say things. Everything's dramatic, everything's a problem, everything is catastrophic. I mean, it's just incredible. I don't watch the news, but I'll catch maybe a headline or something, and it's always this horrible storm. Well, it used to just be a storm. Rainstorm's coming. Okay, great. You know, now everything's got a greater adjective to describe it. So just listen for those things, and then listen for yourself, how you're using those words. It's very fearmongers, yes. It's very intricate. Our mind is very crafty and sneaky, and it just keeps trying to spin things in a new, different way so that we feel like it's something new and different, and it's not. So it's really paying attention to the repetition that's going on in your mind. Desperate versus devotion, which comes from lack. Desperate for love, desperate for a relationship, desperate for success, desperate for whatever, fill in the blank. I don't really like the word. It's pretty heavy. Desperate. Can you feel it? It just feels heavy. It's like, oh, yuck. So just that simple word. Feel how it feels for you. Desperate. Yeah. It's been most of my life. Desperate. Codependent. Recovery. For a lot of life. So it's an ongoing practice. It's never been my experience of a one and done. Not for any of it. I never thought about the challenge of mine being desperation. It's wording. It's really wording. It's semantics. But it came through for me when I was journaling. And that was how the choice of the word got put in there. But it does come from a place of fear. It's all fear, right? That desperation, anything so the two categories, you have fear and you have love. You're either acting out of fear or you're acting out of love. And you can label it anything you want to underneath that. Desperation is fear. Fear of losing, fear of rejection, fear of not being loved, fear of not being accepted, fear of not being heard. It's good with the push me, pull you. I have done that for so long. I want you to love me, but I'm too scared to let you love me, right? So you're doing it at the same time. I want you to come close, but I'm going to push you away. It's crazy. Desperation, definitely heavy. Yeah, it is a heavy word. so that push pull, it's because we know that we want that, we want to feel it, but we're so afraid that it's not going to be given the way that we want it to, or somehow that we've experienced in the past, or we're going to be rejected, or yeah. So it's the answer for all of it is to turn inward. Oh, take a deep breath with me on that. Oh, yeah, I feel lots and lots of energy. It's all about us, not in a selfish, some people say it's selfish, but it's not in a selfish way. It's in a self-reflection, self-awareness way. When I am being my best, then I can bring my best. But if I'm coming from desperate, and it's such a slight thing until you see it, and then it's not. Because it doesn't feel like that. It didn't feel like that until I could see it, and somebody labeled it, and I went, ah, fuck. Really? Then it was super clear. Now I can kind of laugh. I can laugh about it. I'm kind of laughing. I laugh about it because I'm like, okay, well, now that I know what it is, I can do something about it. I can shift that. I don't have to feel desperate. It's about alignment. And when we turn inward and take care of ourselves and take care of that shadow part, the part that feels lack comes from, there's so many layers here. It comes from not feeling safe. So we're constantly trying to grab things from external places to fill us up. If I have enough numbers, if I have enough people that say they love me, if my husband treats me a certain way, if so many people buy my course, if fill in, if I get a promotion. Right? It's very subtle, but it's constantly searching outside of me. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. And someone else looked at my page and said, it feels like you're doing it because you're supposed to. And I said, 100%, because that's what I was told to do. And I'm following the direction. But it didn't come from a place of inspiration in high vibe. It came from, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm desperate for a business to be successful. Doesn't even feel good to tell you that out loud. Whew. Fear is such a boat anchor. Yes. A boat anchor with tentacles. Yes. It is clear. Bless you. Desperation. Love me. Give me. Help me. Yes. And you're here and I'm here and we're just a reflection of each other. I've either been there, done it, or still doing it on some level. Yes, it is all inside authenticity, right? And so getting really, really honest with ourselves. But until we can see it, we don't see it. It's just how it is. It's what I've always done. It's what I've always known. It's what I was always taught. Thank you for the heart. You know, most of my, let's see, the first, more than half of my life was being codependent. I didn't know I was an empath when I was young, and so I was codependent. Pretzelized myself to fix you, and because I couldn't fix me. And then I had alcohol. And that suppressed more of the feelings and more of the energy. So that was the next 13 years. I got sober at 27. So a lot of my life, even in recovery, was about dealing with my codependency and my highly sensitive nature. So it's sneaky and insidious. And everything was external. I needed you to make me feel okay. And I would manipulate, use, and abuse to get that. I said something to someone, one of my clients yesterday, we were talking, and I said, and when I was 21, an affair. She was like, what? I can't even see that about you. And I said, yeah, I can't either. Not anymore. I can talk about it today. It's all done. And it's all been healed. I've made my amends. I've done all my parts. Yeah, those were things I did. Desperate. And emotionally unavailable. And I was emotionally unavailable. So what a match. I recently learned that I was an empath. It's hard to deal with at times. I was codependent on my mom when I was younger. Yep. Only realized it fully when I was 21. Yes, ma'am. For sure. There's lots of great information. I have I think I have almost 300 videos on on the channel here with all kinds of tips and tools, lots of stuff. It's evolved, of course, with more of the energy stuff now. 80 pounds and gave into self-medicating with alcohol. The real me was hiding under that. Hiding. Absolutely. Absolutely. Many of the people I meet today that are in recovery, I say, hey, are you highly sensitive or empathic? And they're like, yep, because I know that's part of why we drank if we didn't know that. It wasn't even a word when I was a kid. So I had no idea. I just knew that I felt everything and I didn't want to feel everything. And I didn't know how to not feel everything. And so I would take all that on and then try to fix it and give it back. See how convoluted that is? So when we lack, when we carry that shadow, that side of us that is lack, how we have poverty, scarcity, there's no exemptions. Money's a really easy one to look at because it has such a charge in our culture, and that's our currency. It is energy. If we can take off the meaning of money and just look at it as energy, it's a game changer. We truly lack nothing, but our brain and our insides will tell us something else because we feel so empty and we don't know how to fill that. And so we go around trying to get it from other people, trying to fit in and dumb myself down. Yep, those days are over. Part of me here just admitting all that. I don't talk about that. This is a huge place here on YouTube. In my closed group, it was safe. This does not feel safe so much. But I'm at the point of like, I don't care. My story's going to help someone. I turned to food instead of alcohol to cope. I know my sponsor is in OA and AA and Al-Anon. So yes. I mean, we all have that. So something that occurred to me sometime in this process was we're all addicts of some nature. It's whether it's serving us or not. Is it effective? All things in moderation. These are really good cliche things, all things in moderation, right? If you're going to drink and you're not an alcoholic, in moderation. I didn't drink or use in moderation, so I would have told you I did, but not really. Yes, thank you for that. So it's we have lifetimes of survival culminating here in this lifetime. We're at the tipping point. At this point in every other lifetime we died because the energy couldn't support us and the people would kill us. Not everyone, not every lifetime. I don't mean it like that. But the energy couldn't support us as we were going up with our abilities that we hid and we died early, or we died because somebody didn't like that, or you know the story. So we're here now and we're moving through it, which is why it feels so intense. And the energies are off the chart. Miss Party Mayhem. I'm going to call you Miss. I'm going to say Miss. So the energies are much more intense than it's just been culminating into this. And so we are clearing, not just this lifetime, we're clearing lifetimes of survival and constantly striving. And if you look back in history, it was all about how we looked and how we behaved, and we had to dress a certain way and act a certain way, and the men and the women and all that stuff. So, and lack is not specific to anyone. There's no exemptions. None. Just look at your life. If there's a thread in one area of your life of lack, it's going to be everywhere in your life. It may show up a little different, but it's going to be everywhere. So when I realized I still have that level of desperation, I'm like, I stopped. I stopped doing all the things I was doing so that I could get clear from me. And I could come from that divine alignment and inspiration rather than what I'm supposed to be doing or think I'm supposed to be doing. So should I stop trying to heal? I don't want to go any farther and bop out of the planet. No. Well, how do you define healing? Absolutely not. All that you're doing is clearing the layers. So no, you should not stop. What do I say to that? No, you should not stop, and you don't have to. You don't have to search it out. It's going to show up. The next thing for you to deal with is going to show up. You don't have to go search for it. Remember I said, you are me 25, 30 years ago. You're making much faster progress than I did. Which is part of why I'm here. I want people like you that you can make faster progress than I did. It doesn't have to be such a slow go. It's still your process. And I would search and manufacture and make things up so I could have something to work on and fix. And I still do that. On some degree. When I look at like how do I write and what do I speak of, I tend to move toward the things that are questions around where do I lack, or where do I still do this, or how does it show up in this, instead of how can I shift my focus to look at something else. Like all of the abundance in my life, and all of the gratitude in my life, and all of the things that I have in my life, and all the things that I am in my life. The ability to come here for 10 days straight on YouTube live and share with people and have new people show up that are aligned and attracted to what I'm saying. An amazing, beautiful gift. And I am deeply honored and grateful. But I didn't do it because I thought I should. I did it when my friend said, hey, I called her after Saturday when I did my live. I do one once a week here. She said, tomorrow, or she didn't say tomorrow. She said, you want to do the 10-day portal with me? Let's collaborate. And then add in Donna with the sound healing on Instagram. I was like, I resonate with that. Yeah, let's do it. When does it start? Tomorrow? Oh, well, all right. No time to think about it. I wasn't home all day Sunday, so it's, it's just tapping into where am I aligned and saying yes to that instead of doing it because I think I'm supposed to. Because there was a time I would have said, oh, yeah, Felicia, yeah, let's do that. And then I'd be like, no, what was I thinking? Why did I say that? Sometimes there's a reason I said it, but yeah, sometimes short notice is the best thing to do. I don't have any time to go mental masturbate. The searching spirit comes on me still. I know. I need to know. Urgency is subsiding with work. You've helped me there too. Yes. It does feel urgent. It feels urgent to a lot of us because it's the energy's moving so fast and pushing so much stuff up to the surface for us to deal with. So that breath work technique I said to Missy, I don't think you go by Missy. I use that all the time. When I get frantic and I get feeling urgent and I get feeling ungrounded, I actually count my breath to stop my mind from spinning. And it doesn't spin like it used to, but it still will get going on something, and I'll just start to breathe. Do that. Inhale through the nose for 8, exhale out the mouth for 8. No time to talk to the lower mind of doubt. Exactly right. Exactly. I just felt into it. It aligned. Yep, let's do it. And she's like, tomorrow. I was like, oh my God. So, all right, I'm going to figure it out. Make it work. And so here we are. Day 5. So it's super amazing and super cool. And I didn't think I'd have a whole lot to talk about, but I know when we're talking about shadow, it touches so many levels. The spinning mind it's not fun, especially when you can't stop it. It's tapping. Tapping is amazing to disrupt the what's the word I want? The insanity. And if you're on something that you've been on a lot that keeps showing up for you, tap or do the breath work. When you do that breath work and inhale through the nose, you're first of all, you're bringing your energy in and you're grounding, but you're also, when you're exhaling, clearing out the trauma in the frantic, chaotic energy. So you do that a few times. Monkey mind, yes. I am so happy we did it. It has been so much fun together, helping others heal. Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. Yes, it's been amazing. If you have not gone to Felicia's channel, go to her channel, because she talks about the galactic portal, the kin for the day. She does a reading for the day and touches on some of the shadow stuff and asks some really great journaling prompts. It's just been really, I didn't get to see yours yet today. I didn't get a notification, so I'll have to go back and find it. And I'm not on a timeline to be on another call, so I'm on a little longer, apparently. And I'm happy to do that. Happy to do that. The lack is, it comes from not enough. It could be, so my great grandma was born in the Depression. My grandma was born in the 1920 something. So right in that Depression, and then when she was 16, she had my mom. So there's some of that plays into this life. We have that history of the Depression time. So that's in our DNA. Just is. And even though there are people that make massive amounts of money, are they actually truly happy? Because there's still something else that's lacking for them. And they always want more. More money, more whatever, more control, more power, because there's that feeling underneath it all that they're not enough. So they have to keep proving their worth. Some of this stuff is super, super subtle, and we don't even realize it's there. Oh, wait, hold on. There's something here. We always know. They don't always know. But we always know. We always feel it. But it doesn't mean that we have to call it out or address it to anyone. If there's a time and a space and you're called to, or there's an invitation, or there's an opening, do that. Call it out. If there's not, mind your own business. Let them have their energy, because it's their process. And if I'm trying to interfere in their process, then I'm slow. I can slow them down, and I can slow me down, because now we've mixed in our energies, and we don't need to do that. Right? So it's a choice. But I used to be quick to call people out. Are you okay? What's happening? I sense something here. I'm good. I'm fine. Oh, no, you're not, but okay. Right? But it's not my place to call that out for them. If they don't want to answer, let it be. And if they ask, if the door is open, you'll know. Then it's about trusting yourself to do that. The super effective way sometimes is just, can I ask you a question? Is it okay if I ask you a question? They can say yes or no. And even if you ask and they don't want to hear it, or they don't want to look at that, it still may not go anywhere. But it's not our job to try to fix that for them or to bring it to their attention unless they want it. If I'm 60 years old, I wonder how many generations of mine were touched by the Great Depression. Many. Many, many, many. And then your kids. That's that whole ancestral generational thing. And then in the days before money, when it was bartering, it's the energy's the same. Because if they didn't have enough food, their basic needs weren't even met. And if they couldn't go hunting to get it, or they couldn't go harvest it, they're still hungry. So it's ongoing. The currency of today is the dollar bill. But it wasn't always that. Like, who said gold is worth $3,000 a freaking ounce? The Aztecs were killed for their gold. Who said that it was so valuable? Somebody just decided that arbitrarily. Right? It could have been pyrite as gold instead of gold as gold. Do you see what it's all meaning? Talisman Oracle. This is the deck I just pulled a card from. This is my new favorite for the moment. Felicia, it's your fault. Growth of energy. You see the eggs? And then the flower of life up here. See the eggs? Fertile. We're growing, we're expanding. That dastardly DNA, right? Well, and that's the DNA is what we've been getting upgraded, what's been being upgraded to crystalline and to plasmic. And so it's a lot for our body to handle, which is why we do this part. We do this shadow part so the energy's not having to push through so much crap that we carry. It's going to happen whether we like it or not, especially being empathic and highly sensitive and light workers and all those labels that we have. We chose this time to be here, so it's also choosing to do this part of the transformation so that our DNA can carry more of that light. Once upon a time, our original form was not this thick. It wasn't this dense. Before the NAA, the original blueprint, they weren't this dense and thick. It was a much easier time, a much more pure energy. And then life happens, right? Exactly. So when you get make it a habit. I call it a rampage of gratitude. To go on a rampage of gratitude. Just look at all of the things, all of the blessings that you have in your life. Shift the focus from what can I fix or what's going on with me that I need to take a look at right now. And look at what you have. And look at all the blessings. And look at all of the abundance in the world. Everywhere. Sure. All right. This is the inner child deck. This one. And number 9, which is endings. Connect to eternity within. Let yourself be held by love. So there's a lot of rewiring the nervous system because we are wired for chaos, drama, trauma, lack, scarcity, anxiety, panic, depression. We're wired for all of that. The list goes on. When we're learning how to receive, to be love, to be loved, to give love. It was never safe. We've never felt safe. It was always conditional. So we're rewiring our nervous system so we can feel safe. So we can feel safe to relax. So we can feel safe to receive and to give and to be and to thrive. So when you hit the point where you're like, want to crawl out of your skin, mental masturbation going on, or just something's, first of all, is it my stuff? That's your question. Is it my stuff? You'll know if it is, and if it's not, it typically dissipates. The energy will dissipate fairly quickly. You might be feeling the collective. You might be feeling someone around you. Cut the cords. Cut the cords, return their energy. It's that simple. Cut the cords, return their energy. You don't have to know who it is. Smudge, clean up your space. Clean up your energy. And when you want to run, sit still. God, I just felt that hit someone right in the solar plexus. When you want to run, when you want to go get busy, because you're uncomfortable. Oh, wait, laundry needs to be done. Oh, the dishwasher needs to be. Oh, I need to go get gas. Whatever, fill in your blank. Sit still and feel. Not going to last forever. And every time you do that, and you trust yourself to sit in it until you move through it, breathe through it, you're resetting your nervous system. You might not be able to do it for very long at first, but the longer you practice doing that, the easier it gets and the longer you can sit still until that's your new normal. Just letting it land. Definitely hard sometimes to sit through it. Yeah, horrible feeling. I heard this the other day too. Yep. It feels horrible because it's super, super uncomfortable. So if we were not in a safe environment to be quiet or to speak our truth or to be seen or to be acknowledged and be honored and nurtured, none of that is going to feel safe today. That's the push-pull in your relationship. I want you to love me, but don't get too close because I don't feel safe there. Right? So connecting to eternity within, connecting to your own divine self. It's a process and it's a practice. Let yourself be held by love. What does it feel like? If you sit with that simple thing, let yourself be held by love. What does that feel like? Another way to start to rewire the nervous system, imagining in your mind, what does it feel like? If you can do it for 1 minute, good. I love this explanation of understanding. Good. If you can do it for 1 minute, and then you do 2 minutes, and then you do 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long time, but embody the feeling of what does it feel like to be held in love? Not by a person. It's an essence. It's a vibration. It's a space of being in. Call it God, call it Christ, call it universe. The ultimate peace is love. What does that feel like? I have this deep desire to feel free. What does it feel like? What is freedom? I just sit with that and feel into what is freedom for me? What does that mean? And be in that feeling until I could actually define what it feels like. It's the same with love. And when we start to define what that is and rewiring the nervous system, we move out of that lack and we move out of that desperation and we move out of that push and pull. Because we're creating safety for ourselves to be able to receive it and to give it. Anybody have any questions? This video is definitely helping jotting things in my journal while watching. I'm so happy to hear that. I love that. I journal a lot too. I take a lot of notes. Not as many today. I journal a lot, but I don't take as many notes. Any questions? I'll pull one more card out of this deck. The light code apothecary. Sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same things, but it might be similar, but it's said in a different way every time. So, what are your questions? Anybody have any questions about any of this? Ooh, I caught them before they fell. Oh, dang. I say dang. There's like 4 of them that came out. So let's see what they say. 5 of them that came out. Oh my gosh. Okay. While you're typing your questions, number 44. Excuse me. Ancestral clearing. Clear what you may be carrying from those before. Let's feel that code that's on the card. It's just confirmation, validation, duality merge, surrender dark into light. It's such a beautiful deck. That's a number 51. This is a number 31. Time to go there. What you are avoiding may be what is ready to move. I love it. I just love, love, love this. Time to go there. Right? All right. Recognize triggers. Loosen the grip through awareness. You see, look out, thanks for the hearts. You see the little finger on the heart, right? Triggers what's poking at you. Thank you. I had something poke at me, and then I reread actually the comment. I'm like, that wasn't a poke at all. All right. Do you find that it helps you visualize it happening in your head when cutting the cords, as I do? Sometimes. Yes. The last card of this, 26, feel your feelings. Are you aware of your emotional body? This is the turn your blinkers inward, pause, breathe, stop doing, and feel. This is how we move the energy, is feeling the feelings. We don't have to like the feelings. They don't always feel good, but if we'll feel them and breathe into them, we'll clear them and move them out of our body. And it may take more than one time. But if you'll make the commitment to yourself to do that, it gets easier and easier and easier. I know, right? All 5 of those, right on point. So feel those feelings. Turn inward and sit in it. Be uncomfortable with it. Get comfortable being uncomfortable until you reach the next phase. Yes. I don't have to visualize anymore, but sometimes I do. If I'm doing something deeper, like I'm calling forth a specific person to cut cords with and returning their energy, there's a specific format, I have a little ritual that I do in that, then I will visualize it. But today, when I've been around somebody or I leave somebody, I'm like, cut the cords, just clear the energy, just like that. I just do it. And I don't always have to smudge, but I like to smudge, and it helps to clear the rest of it if I didn't get it all. But immediately, I was with someone yesterday, and it was just the things were all about problems, and I left. I was like, ugh, just heavy. Cut cords, return her energy. And if you forget, when you forget, not if, because we forget, do it as soon as you remember. So anymore, I don't have to visualize unless it's that deeper one. And sometimes I take other sort of meditation to do that. And so I tend to go through it with you. I close my eyes so I'm not distracted and meditate with you. I did my smudging this morning. Did I do my smudging? I did not. I smudged before I came on here. I didn't smudge this morning. I showered and walked out we have few acres here, so I went out and walked in the trees and hugged the trees, and that's my version of grounding and smudging. That's another thing to do if you're struggling to ground. That earlier question, wrap it up with this, is go put your hands on a tree. Even if they're in a square, if you're in town and they have those square things that's in the ground, just put your hands on the tree. And hold your hands on the tree until you feel the energy. Sometimes I'll talk to you if we listen. But you can always ground that way. All right, lovelies. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. I'll see you here tomorrow. I am not sure what time. I have a few things going on tomorrow, so I'm not sure what time that'll be exactly. So I'll definitely post it, and I will see you here tomorrow. I appreciate you. I'm grateful. If you have not subscribed, hit your like, and thank you, Miss, for being here. Like and subscribe, and you'll get notified, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Namaste.